Hello. Tonight we're going to read Stop and Smell the Cookies. Dash Gordon dragged his feet on the sidewalk all the way home from karate class. He was in a gloomy mood. It had not been a good morning. Dash loved karate. He loved it so much that sometimes he forgot Sensei's #1 rule: no talking in class. He always wanted to be good, but sometimes Dash's feelings controlled him, instead of the other way around. As Dash and his father walked up to their apartment, Dash froze at the top of the stairs. The sweetest aroma had crept into the hallway. It shocked Dash's nostrils, break-danced on the back of his throat, and plunged down to his lungs. The ambrosial scent of oatmeal walnut chocolate chip cookies could only mean one thing. Grandma Nani! Dash's chest felt warm and fuzzy. His toes danced. His fingers tickled the air. His hands clenched into the position Dash called the dragon's fists. Hi-ya! Dash leapt through the open door, and before he knew what was happening, the dragon's fist came down on Nani's tray. Cookies flew everywhere. Grandma Nani shook her head. Tears rolled down Dash's face. His day had gone from bad to worse. That afternoon, Dash went to Kate Shannon's birthday party. It was a gymnastics party, and all of Kate's guests raced through an obstacle course that ended with a zip line into a pit of foam balls. Dash was in heaven. When it was time to eat, Mrs. Shanahan made Dash sit right next to her so she could keep an eye on him. After all, she didn't want a repeat of what happened last year. Suddenly, the lights went out, and Mrs. Shanahan put a big round cake down in front of Kate. The flickering light of 6 white candles, plus one to grow on, illuminated Kate's face, and all the kids whooped and cheered as they sang happy birthday. Dash imagined his own birthday party. He pictured the cake that he would have. He imagined the candles on his cake. He thought about the wish he would make, a brand new bicycle. Dash's chest felt warm and fuzzy. His toes danced. His fingers tickled the air. Dash blew out the candles on his cake. Whoosh! The room went silent. Dash looked around to discover that he had actually blown out all of Kate's birthday candles. Kate glared at Dash. Mrs. Shanahan shook her head. Tears rolled down Dash's face. The day wasn't getting any better. The next morning at school, Dash was determined to be on his best behavior. Miss Chang gathered the class on the rug and guided them through the counting number squares. Dash loved counting the red dots that filled the black squares, and he could even get to 100 if he counted them in groups of 10. But Sienna was having a harder time with it. As Sienna counted each red dot, Dash's chest started to feel warm and fuzzy. Sienna stared at the squares. Dash's toes danced. His fingers tickled the air. Before he knew what was happening, Dash jumped to his feet, and the numbers poured out of his mouth. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100! All of Dash's friends glared at him. Miss Chang shook her head. Tears rolled down Sienna's face. Sorry, Sienna, Dash said, sniffling. This was the worst of all possible days. That night, Dash's mother read him a story from his favorite book, The Adventures of Robin Hood. But Dash wasn't paying attention. All he could think about was Sienna and Kate and Grandma Nani. What's the matter, sweetie? His mom asked. Dash sighed. I karate chopped Nani's cookies. I ruined Kate's birthday wish. I didn't let Sienna count her numbers. I know what's right and wrong, but sometimes I just can't help myself. Why are my feelings so much bigger than me? It's been a rough couple of days, his mom said, pulling Dash in for a hug. But I have an idea. Sit up and close your eyes. He did. His mom continued. First, let's smell Nani's cookies. Dash pictured Grandma Nani holding a plate of her delicious cookies as he took a deep breath in. Next, let's blow out Kate's candles. Dash imagined the glowing candles on top of Kate's cake and pushed all the air from his lungs. Now, let's count Sienna's numbers. Dash whispered, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. How do you feel now? His mom asked. Dash opened his eyes. His chest felt calm and cool. His toes were still. His hands relaxed. Surprised, Dash said, I feel good. Good or great? Great, he announced with a smile. Dash went to sleep that night excited for school in the morning. The next afternoon, during choice time, Dash and his friends were hard at work making perfect paper airplanes. Dash's plane was so sleek and beautiful, he knew he could send it soaring so that it landed in the trash can all the way across the room. But Miss Chang had many rules, and one of them was no throwing paper airplanes during choice time. Dash wanted to throw the plane. He needed to throw the plane, but he knew he shouldn't. Dash's chest felt warm and fuzzy. His toes danced. His fingers tickled the air. Then Dash remembered his plan. He closed his eyes. He smelled the cookies. He blew out the candles. He counted to 100. All of a sudden, Dash's feelings didn't seem so big anymore. He smiled. Dash opened his eyes, placed the airplane in his backpack, and returned to his seat. Dash's father picked him up after school, and they walked together to the park. When they got to their favorite spot, Dash grabbed the paper airplane from his backpack and climbed up onto a rock. Then, with the strength of a giant, Dash reached back and launched his paper airplane to the moon. Stop and smell the cookies. It can help you handle big feelings. The end. I hope y'all enjoyed. A special shout out to William and Charles. I love y'all. Good night.